regarding Power Query, Power BI, and also the data cleaning process in Excel and Power BI as well. So today we are going to witness the ideal way to transform your data and also clean the data while going through the data analysis process. So it is one of the key steps while analyzing the data and preparing the dashboards. So the data transformation analyzes your data and it completely transforms your data into the way which can be representable and also be utilized for the data analysis. So Ellen is an expert in data analysis and also in data analysis tools such as Excel and Power BI. So Ellen, over to you.
All right. So thank you, Prem. Namaste, everyone. So if you can hear me, maybe you can just type number 1 in the chat box, Mohit and friends. If you can see the screen, then you can just type number 2 in the chat box. Okay, number 1, if you can hear me, number 2, if you can see the screen. So thank you, everyone, for typing number 1 and number 2. Namaste. All right. So like what Prem said, of course, we are learning about data transformation, but it's beyond that. We are learning on how we can actually import data from one source and do some transformation, and at the end we can produce report to our manager. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we are going to go to a Google Sheet. Now what you're looking is a Google Sheet. There are companies in this world, they have multiple sources. They have one source in Google Sheet, one source in Excel file. So normally, if just say I want to import a data from Google Sheet to Excel, Google Sheet to Power BI, it's not possible. But there is a way. What is the way? Let me show you. Now, if you look here, we do have claims report 2023. We have the date, states, employee, claims, and RM. So now what I want to do is I want to actually import this information to my Excel file. As you can see over here, we do have a share icon. Can you see share? If you can see share, maybe can you type number 3 in the chat box? So normally, if we want to import a data from Google Sheet, we need to click on this share icon. So we click share. Once we click share, this box will appear. You have to make sure that it is not restricted. It is anyone with the link. So anyone with the link means the sheet is open. Okay. And then you copy the link. Once you copy the link, what you do is you go to the Excel file. So I'll go to my Excel file. What I want to do is I want to import a data from Google Sheet. So I go to data from web. Why I click from web? Because the Google Sheet is located in a Google Chrome. Google Chrome is a website, internet. So I click from web. Once I click from web, what I need to do is you will notice that a box will appear the moment I'll click from web. Meaning to say, like what I mentioned earlier, when you press from web, a box will appear. They will ask you to paste the URL or website. You don't have to web paste this thing. This is not the correct one. You have to copy this link. You copy this link and then you paste in this URL. Okay, you paste it over here. Now, can you type number 4 if you can see here edit sharing? If you can see edit sharing, please type number 4. Okay, now the thing is, you don't press OK immediately. This edit sharing, we need to change. Meaning to say, you need to change to export question mark format equivalent to XLSX. That means it will format in an Excel format. And then you press OK. Once it press OK, you will notice that another box will appear. The meaning to say, once you press OK, another box will appear. And this box will tell you what are the sheets. So normally in your Google Sheet, there will be a lot of sheets. Like for example, sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3. So happen in this particular file, we only have one sheet called report. So now, if just say I go back to my file, I click on this report and I press load. So once I press load, you will notice that automatically the data will be loaded as a table format in your Excel file. Okay, you can ignore this first. I'll explain this later. But if you see, we have already imported data from Google Sheet to Excel. Some companies, they use Google Sheet. So now if just say I change the numbers. For example, if you notice carefully, here the number is 123. Maybe I change to 987654321. If you notice over here, I change this to a big number. Okay, if you notice, do you notice that I change? If you notice, maybe can you type number 5 in the chat box? Okay, so I've already changed from 123 to 987. So now what I do is I go to this Excel file, I press right click and I press refresh. When I press refresh, do you notice the difference? If you notice the difference, can you type yes in the chat box? So meaning to say, we can actually import data from Google Sheet to Excel. And of course, you will ask me, why now here we have all is in a number format? Because in our Google Sheet, here we have date, but here we have all number format. So what we can do is, we can actually change into a date format. So what we do is, we go to the right hand side, right click, and then press edit. So the moment we press edit, it will go to Power Query Editor. So once we click Power Query Editor, we can just choose here, instead of 1, 2, 3, we can actually put date format. We put date format, replace current, and then there you go. It becomes a date format. And then you can just press close and load. And then just like that, it will change into a date format. So what we learn right now is, we learn how we can import a data from Google Sheet to Excel. Maybe we need to do one more time so that you can understand the dynamics. Okay, now we have done for this example. Let us do for one more example. Apple sales. Here we have Apple sales. So Apple sales, here we have this information. What we want to do is, we want to put in a Excel file. So I click here share. Okay, you have to make sure it is anyone with the link, because if it's restricted, it is like close. Meaning to say, for example, when you talk about Instagram and Facebook or any social media, it's either a private profile or public profile. Restricted means it is private. That means it's not possible. It's not open. Anyone with the link means it is open to anyone. Okay, it's like public. So you have to make sure when it comes to work, maybe only certain people have this link. So you copy this link, and then what we do is, we go back to the Excel file, data from web. Why from web? Because the Google Sheet is in the website. The Google Sheet is in the internet. So we click from web. And then what we do is, once we press from web, we need to paste the website. We need to paste the link. Okay, the difference is, here edit sharing, because we are telling to edit the sharing. No, it's not edit the sharing. It's basically to export in a, okay, export question mark format equivalent to XLSX. Basically, we want to export in the format of Excel format. We want to export in the format of Excel format. So we press OK. So once we press OK, and then eventually it will load. So why here got sales? Because our sheet over here, the name is sales. Meaning to say, if just say I press here done, the name of the tab is sales. So what you do is, you press here sales, and then you press, okay, if we press load, it will load as a Excel sheet. Okay, so I'll just press load. The moment when we press load, you will notice that it will load the data exactly into the Excel file. So basically here we have all the column 1 and so on. But if you remember just now, Prem Sain mentioned that we are learning on data transformation. Basically, if you want to put this in Power BI or you want to turn this into pivot table, it's not possible. Whether it's Power BI or pivot table, you have to make sure the data is in a table format, a proper tabular format. So I need to change this in a proper table format, whereby one column for the sales method, one column for the location, one column for the products, one column for the months, one column for the values. So what I need to do is, I need to press here, right click and edit. Okay, I have some questions. You see, sometimes my clients, they accidentally close this. They use their mouse and they accidentally close this. So how to actually edit? Okay, either you can go to query and then you can click on edit. Okay, there's a query tab and you can click edit, or you can go to data and you can click on queries and connection, which is over here, queries and connection. So this pane will appear, and then yes, you can just change like this. So I'll just click here, edit. So now once we click edit, so now what we want to do is, we want to clean the data. Okay, the content of this course is, or this session is, to learn on data transformation. So Power Query is very important. It's not only available in your Excel, it is also available in your Power BI. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to click this and delete, because this column is not necessary. This row also not necessary, so I will delete. How to delete the row? Under home, we have remove row, remove the top row. Okay, so remove the top row means I want to remove the first row. So how many rows we want to remove? We want to remove the first row. So only one row and enter. So the first row has been removed. And then of course, if you notice here, we have the location, Asian Pacifics, Americas, Americas, Europe, Asian Pacific. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want a dedicated column for the location, because in this column it's very mixed. We have Asian Pacific, we have iPhone, we have Americas, we have iPhone, and so on. So I want to separate this. How to separate? Well, very simple. If you see here, when just say I filter January, when I filter January, you will notice that it will show me all the location. So what I want to do is, if just say it shows January, it should shows the location. So what I'm going to do is, I'll go to add column. As you can see here, my friends, can you type number 6 if you can see conditional column? Can you see a conditional column? All right. So this conditional column, what I want to do is, if just say this column 4 has January, then it should appear the location. So conditional column, and then a box will appear. So column number 4. Why number 4? Because column 4 has January. This one, you have to make sure the spelling is correct. You have to make sure the case is correct. Case means capital J, small letter A, small letter N. So you need to, it is a case specific and correct spelling. And then if just say it equals to Jan, then I want to select column so that it shows column number 3. And then last one is none. All small letters. And then you press OK. So now you press like this. So what I'll do is I'll press right click and then I'll go to move to the beginning. Just like that. So we have one column for location, one column for sales method. Another column is just for products. So what I'll do is I will just try to go, and first thing is promote as headers. Use first row as header so that it will become a header. So now we have this header, and then I'll just filter out because I don't want the total. I don't want total with others. I don't want null. I don't want Americas. I only want the products only, like iPhone, Apple Watch. So what I'll do is I will unselect all, select Apple Watch, select iPhone, MacBook, and others, and then press OK. So now we have already cleaned the data. And of course, wait, maybe I need to do some things before I filter. Okay, so I think I'll select these two columns first, right click and fill down. Why I must fill down? Because here got data, so I must fill down first. Wait, I think I'll just do one more time. Okay, all right, so right click and fill down so that you can see the data. So it's already filled down, and then I can use first row as header. So now it's correct, and then I can just filter out the unnecessary details, unselect all, Apple Watch, iPhone, MacBook, others, and OK. So just like that, now we have this data. And then what I want to do is I want to remove the other columns, like column 23, column 24, not necessary. I want to remove that. So how to remove is choose column, and then I want to remove all these columns. So what I'll do is I will unselect all, select Asian Pacific, and I press shift, select this. Okay, wait, let me just select, and yeah, I think I need to press one by one. It's okay. And there you go. So all this data, and I press OK. So now it's done. And then I select these first 3 columns, right click, unpivot other columns. Okay, so here you go. So now it is in the proper format. You can just rename this. So this one you can put as location. This one you can put as sales method. And this is the products. And this is the months. And then this is the values. So I put as whole numbers. So you can just put this is INR or anything. Okay. So, and then I press close and load. So once you press close and load, eventually you will notice that it will load in a table format. So what is the session today? The session today is on data transformation. So data transformation is how we clean the data, how we transform the data. And not necessary, when it comes to Excel, not necessary, we need to actually load as a table format. It can be, okay, so can you explain when to use pivot column and unpivot column? Okay, so there's a question in the chat box. When we can apply pivot column and unpivot column. To answer this question, I will try to go to another example. So now, if you look over here, wait, let me go here. Okay, so if you see here we have a data. So unpivot column means we want to put all the years into one column. Meaning to say, let me press Ctrl A. I go to data. I go to table/range, and I press OK. So to answer your question, Rahul Rahat, if you see here we do have a data. So what is unpivot column? I select all these column like 2018 until 2021, and then transform an unpivot column. In this case, when I click unpivot column, it will transpose the selected column. So can you see the difference, Rahul? Basically, all the 2018, 2019 up to 2021, it has been transposed into two different columns. If pivot column is the opposite, that means when I click pivot column, okay, just say the values and I put here don't aggregate. Okay, so what happens is, wait, just say I click this, it will be something separated like this. Okay, wait, maybe what I need to do is, okay, just say pivot column and I go to values. Yeah, it is a values one. Wait, let me just adjust this accordingly and don't aggregate. Okay. All right, so ignore this error, okay, because some errors means that, okay, for this data is not available and whatnot, but doesn't matter. So pivot column is basically you change, for example, right now, this is your data. When you pivot column means you change the one column into respective columns. Unpivot column means, that means you select 2018 up to 2021. See here, now we have 4 different columns. So when we press unpivot column, it will change the 4 columns into two dedicated columns. So Rahul, did I answer your question? So basically this is what unpivot column means. Okay. And then after that, yeah. Okay. So he said yes. All right. So now let me go to the next part. So I'll just press home and close and load. Okay. So you can press close and load. It will load as a table in a new sheet. All right. So what I was mentioning just now, okay, earlier this is our data. Not necessary you can actually load the data into a table format. We can actually load the data as a pivot table. For example, over here, I press here right click and then I press load to. So when I press load to, this is a table format. Okay, you have to bear in mind, if you're using Excel 2019, 2021, 365, Excel 2024, you will have like this. For those who are using the old version, Excel 2016, you will not have pivot table, you will not have pivot chart. Okay, what's the difference? If just say pivot table means it can produce in a table format, pivot table format. So I click this, I press OK, and I press OK. So right now, what will happen is it will become as a pivot table format. So now, if just say, wait, let me, I put my cursor over here. If just say, wait, let me just change first. Okay. If just say, I were to, wait, let me just change one more time. Okay. What is this? All right. Wait, sensitive. Okay. So if just say I were to tick on the products, so it will show me all the products. And if I tick the INR, it will show me all the INR, Indian rupees. And if I put the months at columns, so this is what it goes. So meaning to say, what pivot table can do is it can create a summary. So sometimes we don't have to load as a table format. We can actually load as a pivot table format. Even in this initial data, so we don't have to load as a table format. We can just press here right click and then we can press load to. So just now we learn is pivot table. Now we can press pivot chart and press OK. So pivot chart, press OK, and then it will become in a pivot chart format. And then what you can do right now is you can actually change. So for example, I put here employees and I put the RM. So just like that, we can see that the details for the employees and so on. So here I can press here right click and then sort largest to smallest. So here we have this data. But if just say you want to change, that means you go to your Google Sheet, you click over here. So this number I change to just say 100. I just change like that. And then I go here, right click, refresh. And then just like that, the data will be refreshed automatically. So basically, we can use Power Query to import data. We can use Power Query to transform data. We can use Power Query to load data. It can load in a table format. It can load in a pivot table format. It can even load in a pivot chart format. So my friends, did you learn something? If you learned something, can you type number 7 in the chat box? Okay. All right. So maybe I need to do some more examples so that you can actually understand. So what we learned today? We learned today is how we want to import a data from Google Sheet to Excel and how we do some transformation. But sometimes I need to go back to basics because sometimes Power Query is a very big topic. It's not possible for me to teach you in 1 hour, half an hour, or even in 2 days. All right. So now if you see here, we have part 1A, we have part 1B. In part 1A and part 1B, I want you to look carefully. Part 1A, we have the company name, email, phone, and all the details of the customer. Part 1B, we have industry, location, and the accounting details. So I want you to look carefully. In part 1A and part 1B, what is the common column? That means what column is similar in part 1A and part 1B? Can anybody type in the chat box? If you see here, this is part 1A. So like what Pardu said, okay, here we have customer ID, and in part 1B, we have a customer ID. Okay, so basically what we will do right now is, you see, in Power BI, Power Query, one of the famous thing is merge. How they merge queries. Okay, so now what I'll do is, I need to merge this query, part 1A and part 1B. So what I do is, I press Control A. Control A will highlight the entire table. I go to data, I click from table/range, because this is not importing from a website. This is from the current table. Click it over here. A box will appear. I just have to press OK. So press OK. So right now what we have is, we do have table 1. As you can see here, okay, wait, this table 1 is different. This table here, okay, so what I'm going to do is, maybe I'll just put here part 1A. All right. And then instead of just pressing close and load, because when you press close and load, it will load as a table format. I will click as close and load to, and close as load to only create connection, and then press OK. So here we have part A. Okay, you can just rename also. Rename this properly. So part 1A. And then I want to do the same thing for part 1B. I press Control A. I go to data. I click from table/range. And then over here, I press OK. So right now, what we do is, we can actually change this to part 1B. Part 1B. Okay. So this one, so I'll just change. Okay, there you go. So right now, what we want to do is, we want to merge this table, part 1A and part 1B. How to merge is, over here we have merge query, where we can actually merge query or merge query as new. But what I do is, the first thing is, I'll press here close and load to, and I will press close and load to as a connection only. And just like that, we have part 1A, we have part 1B. So if just say you want to combine these two tables, you can just do what? You can actually go to data, you go to get data, combine queries. Either you can merge or append. Merge is combine when there is two tables, when you have one common column. So you click merge. So once you click merge, a box will appear. So here what I want to do is, I want to merge part 1A and part 1B. So I click here, part 1A, I click here, part 1B. But if you notice carefully, even though when we select these two tables, we are not able to press OK, cannot press OK. So what you need to do is, you need to select the common column. You select the common column, automatically it will show, okay, what is the matches and so on. Then you press OK. When you press OK, you will notice that the two tables have been combined, but they never expand the table. So you need to expand the table. Of course, you need to just unselect which column you want. So I want to unselect customer ID, because already the first column got customer ID, and I unselect original name because I want to have these proper names and so on. So I press OK. So automatically you will notice that these two tables have been combined. So here we have customer ID, here we have company name, and over here we have all the information like industry and so on. So this is the data. I press close and load. So once I press close and load, you will notice that it will load in a new sheet, the merge one. That means over here we have company name, and over here we have the industry. So basically Power Query, what you can do is it can combine the queries, which is essential in your Power BI or your data and so on. Sometimes we need to combine. Instead of doing VLOOKUP, we can actually use this as well. All right. So maybe let us do another example for you to understand better. In part 2A, we have invoice number, we have invoice date, we have customer details. In part 2B, we have the same thing, invoice number, invoice date. But this time, we want to append the data. We want to just paste it at the bottom. So what we do is, we just press here Control A, and then we go to data, and from table/range. Why we must click from table/range? Because we want to upload it in the Power Query editor. Click it over here, press OK. Why we must upload to Power Query editor? Because based on that only, we can actually append the data. So this one is September. So I'll just click here, September 2023. and then I press enter. So September 2023. Don't press close and load because it will load as a table format in your new file sheet. So you just click here, close and load to, and then only create connection so that we can save space and press OK. And then we can do the same thing for part 2A because this one is October. So press Control A and then after that data from table slash range and then press OK. And then over here, when we go to this particular section over here, so here we change to part, not part, is October, October 2023. And then just like that, we just press enter and then close and load to. So now it will go back to the Excel file. We just want to only create connection. Okay. So just now we learned on merge. This time we want to append. We want to combine September and October. So we go to data, get data, combine queries, append. Append means we'll combine the top and the bottom. So when we click the append, of course, we can do 3 or more tables or only for 2 tables. So if you just say 2 tables means first I start with September, then I start with October, and then I press OK. Once I press OK, you will notice that it will combine the 2 tables. Here you have October, here you have September. And then what we can do is, we don't have to press close and load. We can press close and load to. And then what you can do is, close and load to, and then you can put as a pivot table and press OK. So once you press pivot table, so it will become in a table format. And then you can put the invoice date. So we have 2 dates. And then we can also put the total price as well. So like that, this is how you can figure it out. So the beauty of Power Query is you can actually combine the data, you can transform the data, and you can also perform data analysis using pivot table, just like that. So my friends, do you understand? If you understand, there's a question. Does it use column header to append? Yes. You need to have the similar column header. When you have a similar column header, Rahul, like for example, this part 2A, you have invoice number, customer name, customer contact, product. When you have the similar header, then you can combine. Did I answer your question? So you can, yeah, as long you have, yeah, that's the point. All right, so this is the data. So far, any questions, my dear friends? You can just type yes if you have learned something. All right, so we have done this. We have done part 1A, we have done part 2A. So let us go to part 3. Okay, part 3 is the real data transformation, but this is a very simple one. In real life, there will be more complicated data, not in the proper table format. So now what we want to learn is, we want to learn about data transformation. So I press Control A, I go to data, I click from table slash range. I click this, a box will appear. I need to unselect this because I don't want this to be a header. Basically, I only want 4 columns. I want company, I want forecast actual, I want OPEX, CAPEX, I want the figures. So basically what I want is, I only want 4 columns. 1 column for the company name. Another column is for the type, like forecast, actual, all this. And then after that, I want another column for the expenses. Expenses means it can be OPEX, CAPEX, and then last one is INR. All the figures should be in this column. So how to change this data into 4 different columns? I press here Control A. I go from table slash range. I must unselect the header. Why? Because this is not the header. This is not the header. The header should be company. So I press OK. So automatically it will load to Power Query Editor. And then after that, what I need to do is, I need to transpose. I go to transform. I need to transpose. Transpose means it will become in this format. Here we have null, right? So here we have null. So I press here, right click, and then fill down. So it will fill down. And then this OPEX and CAPEX, I want to promote as the header. So use first row as header. So here we have OPEX. Here we have CAPEX. So here we do have the company name. Like I told you, I want the company name. Here we have the type, like forecast actual. But OPEX and CAPEX, I want to put in 1 column. So OPEX, CAPEX, I go to transform unpivot column. And just like that, we have already transformed our data. So this is a very simple concept because our data is very simple, but in real life can be very complicated and so on. So here you can actually put this. Okay, here is the expenses. And then here you can just put here the INR, just like that. But there's one thing that I like to share with you. Here we have group by. Group by is basically we can group the data. For example, I select this column. I want to group the OPEX and CAPEX. So I click the group by. And then what I can do is I want to group by the expenses. I don't want to count. Basically, I want to calculate the sum. So this one is grouped by the INR and I press OK. So over here, what will happen is, wait, let me just show you one more time so that you can understand. So I click here, expenses, group by. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to group by. Okay, wait, I just want to group by them. Okay, maybe wait, I'll just select one more time. Okay, this one. INR, group by, and I want to group by the expenses. Yeah, this is correct. And then I want to put the sum. And I press sum of column of the INR. Boom, there you go. So basically what happened is it will group by the OPEX and CAPEX. Because initially, if you notice over here, here we have 4 different columns like company, type, expenses, INR. So when we click group by, so we want to group by what? I want to group by just say by the type. So I select the type and I want to select sum. Sum of what? So sum of INR. So I click INR and I press OK. So here we have forecast and actual. What we forecast, what we have in the actual expenses. Okay, so this is basically under group by. So Power Query actually is a very big topic because I got to show what is the choose column. Basically, you can choose the certain columns. You can remove certain columns. You can remove rows. You can split. Okay, this one I got teach in previous session, but not in this session. I got show you what is use first row as header. Use first row as header means it will promote the first row as header. Merge query means it will combine based on common column. It can combine 2 tables into 1 column. Append queries means it will try to combine 2 tables based on same header. Data source, we can change the source. Okay, so this one I got to show you all previously, but I can show you all in the next upcoming session and so on. This one, when we want to import a new source and so on, transform. Transform, I got to show you what is used first row as header. There is transpose, that means you change the orientation of the table. Unpivot column, pivot column, I got to show you all. Split column, you can split the column, and this is some calculation. This is for dates as well. All right. So basically, this is what we got learned. So this is what data transformation is. Basically, we can transform the data from a difficult or a weird format into a tabular format. Okay. So my friends, did you all learn something? If you all learned something, can you type number 1 in the chat box? If you have questions, you can ask. Otherwise, I'll pass the session to Akriti and Prem Sai. Okay, maybe perhaps the next time I can just follow up for the next topic and so on. So yeah, Prem or Akriti, over to you.
Okay. So, are there any questions from the audience regarding this? Come on, you can unmute yourself and speak up.
Even if you learn something, you can speak up like you have learned a new thing or something.
Yeah. Or if
Hello,
you're
sir.
looking for something, some specific topic which could be useful.
Yeah, I'm
Sonam.
Tata. Thank you, Alan. Thanks for your session.
Okay.
Can you take data modeling sessions?
On Power BI, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe next week and so on.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sonam, I think just now you wanted to ask or?
Yes, sir. Sir, I was asking, like, can we append data from 2 different workbook?
You mean from one Excel file to another Excel file, right?
Yes, yes.
Actually can. Okay, I'll just share screen. So Sonam's question is just say, I want to import maybe this data. Okay, this one is under pro bono file. I want to import this data. So what I do is, Sonam, I will go to a new sheet. Okay, data, and then get data from file, Excel workbook. I click this. You will notice that the box will appear. You must know where you save. In the documents, in the downloads, or desktop. Okay, so I save this file. and I save under pro bono file. I press import. Once I press import, and then what you can do is you can just select, just say I want to select part 4. Okay, and then up to you, you want to transform data or whatnot. So I press here load. So then the moment I press load, you will notice that it will load the data to another Excel file. Meaning to say, Sonam, initially, this is your report, OPEX, all these things. But now you have already loaded over here. So Sonam, did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So it's here data, get data from file, Excel workbook. So PDF also can, but if you are using Excel 2019, you don't have PDF. Even folder also can. Okay, so maybe next class, I'll teach you all on how we can import from other source. And then of course, maybe the one day I'll teach you on data modeling as well. So yeah, over to you all, Prem and Akriti.
Okay. Is there anything else which anyone would like to share? Okay, I guess in upcoming sessions, Aaron might, like, if he is available, so, and he could be able to plan something more regarding the data modeling and also the data transformation as well, data cleaning process using Power Query as well, if he is available.
Yeah.
So we'd like the positive feedback from you, and also if any specific topic which you are looking to learn, so please do let us know. Okay, then. Thank you, Lim, for this wonderful session. We look forward to invite you for further more topics.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.